I invite you while you rest there to take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths. If you feel to, just to signal to the body, time to chill. No jobs, no tasks, nothing to figure out, nothing to get, nothing to fend off in this moment. Just landing. Noticing all the micro movements of those breaths, the rising, the filling, the falling, the settling. All the beings on this call, all the humans on the earth, all the other sentient beings who breathe in their own ways, joining in a chorus of life here. Rising, falling. Letting the body on your out breath just soften and sink. Let the chair or the seat or the bed or the floor or the ground carry you. The great earth. Will your body solid, reliable, letting it carry your body. You might notice as you breathe at the top of your in-breath, just like being a child on a swing, the top of your in-breath, there's a tiny pause. I would invite you to exaggerate it just a tiny bit. Rest there. Remember, on a swing, midair, neither rising nor falling. And then same at the bottom of your out breath, a resting down. The simplicity of being between breaths. And seeing if you can let your breath enter your lungs a little bit more than maybe normal. Let it enter your belly a little bit more than normal. Filling, greeting, awakening your living body. Hello, body. Have some breath. Have a breath. Have a pause. In the fray, have a resting place where all you are responsible for is being and breathing. This short little time where all we are responsible for is being and breathing together. Everything in nature deserves and has a rest. Everything rhythmic as a pause between the rise and the fall, in and out. Such a beautiful waning as you sit at the ocean and watch a wave come in that moment where it reaches its furthest reach on the sand. Just that moment before it recedes. A doorway into stillness. And this is our sanctuary. This is what creatures, the creature of your body, this is what creatures need to sustain themselves, to find rest and activity. My cat, Elliot, gives himself over to the ground, still, stretched out, letting every cell in his body soften and sink into gravity. Pause, breathe, rest, nourish, going nowhere. We have somewhat in the frenetic pace that has become the norm in our culture, lost touch with the nourishing, soothing quality of deeply resting, of off duty, of softening and sinking down, 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 down. So here's a time where we get to step out of doing, of freaking, of thinking as best we can, obviously, because we are conditioned to think nonstop as soon as we wake up and to do as much as we can. So here we are turning toward the glory, the value, the doorway into our deeper nature called going nowhere. Just here breathing. And opening a small window to this energetic body of beings who have gathered here this morning to rest together, to rest in the power of our being, the simplicity of the silence at the core of us, drawing on it. And for those of you who don't know, about 22 years ago, I emerged from something that St. John of the Cross calls the dark night of the soul. And during that time, things got very dark for me. And my mind went crazy trying to solve it. Using the passing train. And my body, in response to my inability to control my world and get it back on track, started freaking out too. Times of challenge, times of, Adyashanti calls them being painted into a sacred corner, times where we don't know what to do, where our suffering is heightened, where our minds are scrambling, pin us in a way that creatures, our bodies are creatures, do not like to be pinned. Creatures do not like to be pinned. They do not like to be cornered. And they respond as creatures do, with fear, with bared teeth. We are thrown into the sort of more primitive aspect of our bodies, fear, fright, or flight, survival, roar. And that's where I was during that time. Just lots of fear, lots of irritability. But what these times do, you remember Han Solo in Star Wars being pinned between the two walls that were coming in on him. Does anybody remember that scene? Walls coming in on him and him with his human body trying to hold them apart. We know what this is like, to feel pinned. Just like the pressure that forces carbon into a diamond, just like the forge of the heat that, that cures or forges the blade of a sword. Times that are dark, times that are pressing, drive us, if we're lucky, drive us down into deeper resources, drive us to seek, to find, to rest in, to cling to turn toward deeper resources, a deeper way of being here and a conditional way of being here, to be pulled to and fro by the weather, to sink down and open to something eternal, something enduring, something beyond division, something that lives in every human heart. And when we dangle our nerves, when we open to that stillness, that depth, that love, that unity, our bodies start to breathe in, soak up a kind of soothing that is not logical. It's not based on conditions. It cannot be purchased by the mind orienting itself to the right set of thoughts. The creature of the body does not speak mentation. It speaks gravity, tone, energy. And at times like we have now, when so many of us have our survival systems rattled, whatever it is that supports you to soothe, to plug into something eternal that reminds you of depth, that reminds you of what I call the holy, what some people call the Tao or consciousness, a sense that there is an order and a power that is powering all that is, that we in our mental little minds do not understand, cannot master. We're not here to master. We're not here to win. We're not here to be right. We're here to surrender to find and surrender to this deeper reality and allow it to move us, to live us. And like it or not, any of our scrambling does not get us there. There is no there to get. Our sinking down, softening, opening, soothing, landing, grounding gets us here, ever more deeply here. Here where there's ground. And let yourself notice that. Solid ground below the body. The creature of the body needs our support, our wisdom, our resources, our intelligence to lead it to things that let it chill, that let it digest the feels that get stirred up when things look like they are endangering. Big breaths. And you might even on your out breath make a nice low sound, like the rumbling of thunder. You might imagine the bottom of your body sinking down into earth like the base of a mountain, letting everything in your body soften and sink like a settled mountain, feeling the uprightness of your spine planted into the earth, human dignity. You might hold your chin up a little bit, feeling that seat, that throne of being. Every out breath can sink down your body and sink into the earth, weaving your body to the strength and the depth of earth. Every in-breath can rise up in devotion to the above, to the sky, the clouds, the sun, the stars, branching like a tree, top of the head coming open like a wine cup. Heart lifting toward the beautiful, toward the silent. Donovan sings, "All my life I have been searching for that which I cannot see." Can't see it. We can't name it. We can't grab it. We can't put reins on it. We can't teach it to fetch or come or go. All we can do as these hybrid angels, enfleshed angels, all we can do is appeal, invoke, turn toward the things that call to our deeper nature, whatever they are. Here I have this relationship of ridiculous devotion I've had my whole life towards sparkles on the water. When I look out at the Kansas River that flows here very close to where I live, the sparkles on the water take me to something that is not of this earth. And we are here to be here, but not of here, to root down, grow roots into this deep ocean of silence and consciousness, to sturdy ourselves, to soothe ourselves, to digest the clouds that cloud our vision, to soothe the tension that grips our bodies, to look out at this earth open-eyed and simple and take the very next step in the best way we know how, just like human beings throughout time have always been asked. Rumi says, don't look into distances. That's not for human beings. Keep on walking, though there's nowhere to get to. Keep moving, but don't move the way fear makes you move. One step, just this one. I noticed when I was going through that tremendous pinning that my mind kept going to the future. I call that part of us, that scared creature part that goes to the future. What will become of me? What will become of me? What will become of us? What will become of my children? What will become of the earth? What will become of us? And in humility, we have to notice and realize we don't know. We don't know. We never know. And so much of waking up and embodying this that we love the most has to do with getting very used to turning toward, resting in, resting as I don't know. I don't know. Breathing and grounding into the bit that we do know. What do we know in this moment outside of the mind? Not much. We are. We breathe. The earth is below my body. The conditions in my moment are like this, calling to me to perhaps rest, perhaps breathe, perhaps make a sandwich, perhaps vote. Each moment, we are not responsible. It is not our job to have our eyes on the product, on the outcome, but on as deeply and clearly taking each step with as much love, as much clarity, as much kindness and tenderness toward this creature and those creatures as we possibly can. Breathing, being together, letting the belly be fat and the shoulders sink, letting the flesh on your face soften, droop. Yin is the force, the energy that calls downward, that calls soft, that calls weighty. Yin pulls flowers down in the fall toward the earth. Yin calls to us through our exhaustion, rest. Yin calls to us when we're sick, stop. Yin calls to us when we fail, rest, stop. grieve. Yin calls to us through grieving. It calls us down. It calls us still. It calls us to rest and to dangle our roots in the nourishment of being. Our culture has demonized yin. If we're sick, if we're tired, if we're failing, if we can't, if we feel, if we soften, we're not good soldiers, but we're tremendous lovers. And softening and sinking into yin allows the false yang, the false movements from fear, from terror, from agitation, from fury to be stilled and soothed until something deeper moves. It's not that we turn into couch potatoes and call that holy, but we have such a yin deficit personally and collectively that we're careening around the earth, just hurling one terrified act after another toward each other, toward the earth collectively. And we can only move from the wisdom of a freaked out creature as a collective when we move from there. There's something deeper that wants to guide us. We have to allow the waters of yin to wash us clean of our terror, of our beliefs, of our division, of our enemies, of our defense of our freaked outness, of our defense of our fury. Wash us clean, soft, humble, dear, and gathering and growing sturdy roots that sturdy the trunk of our tree, that retake all of our capacities to act, to give, to move from love. Clear-eyed, sturdy love with teeth, not prissy, pinky, Valentine love. Although that part is very sweet. But the thundering, inarguable movement of holy righteousness that makes no one an enemy, no one an outsider, that judges nothing as not belonging. The holy is the most inclusive force that exists. The gaze of empty consciousness looks out at everything and says, it is so. Every war we have with what is, every time we hurl our bodies up against what is, we exhaust ourselves and we invest in division. Sinking, softening, opening to what is, not what our freaked out minds think is. Not all our projected childhood fears of the big bad wolf as our is, but breath, ground, what's just here and what is just simply called for in this moment. This is a huge shift in how we are taught to be, vacating our bodies, vacating the moment, stepping on the face of the moment as though it's a stepping stone to some perfect future that if only we keep going in our frenetic pace, we'll get there. I love this metaphor. You ever throw a ball for a dog, an obedient dog, and the dog runs and gets it, runs and gets it, runs and gets it. And then the thrower doesn't throw the ball. And the dog runs and tries to get it, sniffs around. And we think, ha, 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 silly dog. Hunting, sniffing, no ball was thrown. The dog is still hunting and sniffing. And that's us. We are hunting and sniffing for a ball that was never thrown. The perfect future, my future awakening, the future peace, the future whatever, whether it's a terrified vision or a perfect rosy vision, we don't belong with our consciousness hurled into some fictitious future. We are children of the moment, children of here, children of obedience, children of soothing and softening and listening, one tiny act at a time. Sometimes those tiny acts are huge acts. I remember coming out of that dark night, and I had been really humbled down into just speaking simple truths, no matter what would become of me or how they would impact. I was no longer trying to create outcomes. I had been sort of forged in the fires. That all that mattered to me was that I was congruent, I was in alignment, I was moving from truth, from love, from simplicity. And I spoke a little truth that I had been fending off because I was a new mom with a partner. I spoke a simple, simple truth. I need to live alone. When I spoke it, oh my gosh, everything in me was like, yes, indeed, that is so true. You know that feeling when you finally speak a truth and everything aligns behind it. And then you take a breath and the creature starts freaking out. Oh my God, what does this mean? Not our business, not my business. My whole world uh, reordered itself around that simple truth. This is the power of our simple truths, one after another, like each step that we take, looking around the moment, whether it's an act or a word or a rest. Because a lot of times the only truth we can find is, I don't know. And when we don't know, we don't know. Flogging ourselves, getting frenetic, just doing whatever. We're better off resting and breathing until we do know. And the holy is sort of annoying in this department. It delivers the knowing at the 11th hour often. This reclaiming our capacity to rest in not knowing, to soothe the creature of the body with the simple things that are here, not with rosy pictures of the future, because we are increasingly challenged to create those, aren't we? Hope and hopelessness both die when we sink into the moment. We are neither hoping nor, how would I say it, catastrophizing. Somebody can pronounce that for me better. We're neither doing that nor this. We are syncing ourselves up with being and listening. We are not responsible for the whole thing in the way that we freak out and feel like we are. We are responsible for this instrument to soothe, sink, soften, tank up on being as deeply as we can, and take a step. And so here we are right now, together in this moment. Let yourself have this moment of life, the feel of life in your body. Here I have morning light coming in my window. I can hear the squirrels outside. I can feel the weight of my body sinking into the seat. I can feel my chest rising and falling. The vibration of life in my flesh. Let yourself notice that. Land here. Rest for a moment. Allow nature, true nature, the rhythm of the river to take you over, just flowing, resting. Deep breaths like ocean waves. Mysterious, unending as far as we know. space above stars, the light of the sun, turning toward this great, deep, wide, unending ocean of stillness. Giving our bodies what they need, laying our hands on tense parts of our bodies, letting our bodies rock or sound, curl up. We are the benevolent masters, mistresses, caretakers of these creatures called body. We are not body. We have a body. Body rests in the lap of our being, the lap of our consciousness. Body needs our noticing. Body needs our care. And to notice and care, we have to pull our attention off of where it's fused to thought. Sink down, feel, breathe, soften, tend. I call this putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. How can we move from what we love the most when we are plugged into our survival brain? And the world over, it would so behoove us to recognize when we're speaking, moving, acting from cornered creature, soothe the creature, and do everything we can to tap into something deeper. Our true nature as love. Sometimes love simply stands rooted and listening, rooted and noticing, not jumping into the fray, not climbing on the game board of mind and division to duke it out. Love doesn't seek to win or be right. Love seeks to be itself, humbly, truly, simply, sometimes with no movement or act at all. And then when true movement rises out of a resting being, it has the feeling of righteousness, of clarity, of just rightness. The Buddhists call it skillful means. And culturally, we don't have a whole lot of knowledge about this because we're so running at the mind's pace. But here's where we start. By resting and soothing and doing whatever we need to do, and sometimes it's a lot if we carry trauma, to soothe and soften and allow the creature to stand down. We just adopted a great big dog, and this dog is like a real sweetheart, but when he sees another dog, he just goes into some part of his rah brain, and he looks like he wants to like consume it. And just like holding a dog like that, it's like, there, boy, there, boy. Stand down, calm down, sink, soften, soothe, lay in the lap of love that consciousness holds out for us in every moment. Learning our creature so that we're not entering the fray from beast mentality, but from angelic mentality, simplicity, care. What would love have you do in this moment? Not your concept of love, but this slow moving, saturating, simple force of being. For a lot of us, it's resting. For a lot of us, it's weeping. For a lot of us, it's taking a walk in nature, finding a friend or a pet and curling up, allowing our bodies to recover so that they can be the obedient servants of the heart. So here as a collective, in the name of love, in the name of what's true, in the name of being, in the name of the holy Tao, truth, consciousness, we rest upright, for those of us who are upright, allowing our systems to descend rooted into the solid, simple earth. The earth is a metaphor for the depth of being. Rooted in being, allow yourself to feel that support and to let your spine grow strong and sturdy. Feel the altar of your heart, the tender heart, the heart that senses justice, tenderness, unity. Might be aching, might be breaking. Allow it to be exactly where it is. As your spine rises sturdy and your branches reach for the sky. I am. I am a child of this beauty. I am here to tap into it, to know it, to sit in it, to breathe in it, to move from it, to surrender to it. To spill its tenderness, energy of unity, generosity, patience through my eyes, through my voice, my hands, through my actions, through my dance, through my song. I allow the depth of this love to soften and soothe creature. Allow the creature to curl up in the lap of my lit self, petting it, soothing it, allowing the great ocean of being that carries everything and always has, allowing it to hold us, allowing it to hold up the world, giving our concerns to it like we might take things out of a boat and hand them to the water, resting empty, resting simple, together as a body of resting, clear-eyed human beings. Sometimes we have to be in the Red Cross tent for a little while, recovering from the fray. Sometimes our best business is simply to be putting the oxygen mask on ourselves rather than hurling ourselves out rabid and freaked into the commons. Sometimes the best thing to do is just find a friend, whether it's a human, an animal, or a sturdy tree, and lean in and take a rest for a while. We have come not to change things, not to be interested in outcomes, not to control, but as best we can to find the love in our hearts, the clarity, the sturdiness, the sword of discernment, fierceness on behalf of love, but not anger, not survival bared teeth. That's creature. Creature needs to be soothed, petted, resting in our lap. As we clear-eyed, just take the very next righteous step, even if that's no step. We are a wedding of outrageous light and power and limited, dorky creatureliness. That's not going to change. So as we rest here, we can rest here as these hybrids, noticing simple being and noticing these little floppy creatures that come along and keep us company. And how dear we are in that. Our tender hearts and our dorky bodies. It's not supposed to be any different. Breaths in quiet stillness. And breathing out any sweetness, any restfulness, breathing it out to your neighbors, your near neighbors and your far neighbors. Hey world, rest in our lap for a moment. Stop. Deep. Breathe. It's challenging out there right now.